Welcome to the Pretty Confident Podcast, where we embrace authenticity, own our worth, and build unshakable confidence. I'm your host, Sierra Renee, so let's dive in. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another podcast episode week on the Pretty Confident Podcast. Thank you so much for coming and sitting and talking with me. And hopefully, this sparks a little conversation in your own little circles and families and things of that nature. But if you are new here, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to show you what we talk about on this platform, what I talk about on this platform. And if you are a returning listener or an OG, thank you so much for sticking through it with your girl, okay? If you don't already know, I am pregnant, and by the time these episodes are coming out, okay, because there's going to be multiple episodes that you see the same t-shirt in and the same hairdo in, I should have given birth by the time these episodes, I will have given birth by the time these episodes come out, because by the time they come out, we should be in late May, June, okay? And my baby will be here before then. Anyway, how are you all doing? You guys know I always have to start off with gratitude and thanking you guys. And what am I talking about? That's the same thing. I always have to start off with gratitude and asking you all how you're doing, because I never want that to go, unstated. I want to know how you guys are doing, even if nobody posts it in the comment section or anything. But I do want to know how you guys are doing. Honestly, this has been, I don't know, a crazy couple weeks or so for me, I feel like. And if you can't tell by the title of this episode, we're definitely going to be talking about energy and how it is contagious. So especially by those that are emotionally entwined with you. So i.e. my husband. Okay. But anyway, before we get into that, yes, how are you guys doing? I feel like I'm getting in a better mood. The last episode I recorded, I kind of started off in a so-so mood, because I was just like, ugh, this morning was crazy. But I feel like anytime that I get on my platform and I just start to talk and I'm able to just be real with you guys, I feel like it always puts me in a good mood. It gets the weight off my chest, gets the weight off my heart. And I feel like by talking and giving advice and helping other people out, it definitely helps me out internally. And so I love that. And so I feel like I'm, kind of lightening up. But I did want to talk about how energy is contagious. Now, I will say that, there was something that I was going to say, but it quickly left my mind. So I don't think I'll be saying it unless it comes back. But anyway, yes, energy is definitely contagious. I feel like this goes both ways, not with just your partner, but it can go, ways with your siblings as well. But whenever I'm in a good mood, my husband is typically in a good mood, or he feels good about himself and what's going on and this, that, and the third. But I feel like when I'm in a bad mood, okay, or not even a bad mood, but just a slump mood, I'm not high or down or low or anything like that, it definitely affects him, because he may think that I'm not completely telling the truth, and there may be something wrong, especially if he thinks he did it, or if it's something that he thinks that he didn't do or something like that. And so he just gets in this mood where it's are you sure you're okay? He starts to tiptoe. So I definitely wanted to talk about energy and how to, I don't know, I don't want to say how to manage that energy around other people, because honestly, I do want to learn that, but at the same time, I want you to feel how you feel and not always mask yourself. I feel like, especially in the workplace, us Black people, I don't know if other people go through this as well, like other races, but I know us Black people go through masking all of the time, and it is tiring. And by the time we're done, we don't want to do anything else. I remembered what I was going to say. It does definitely rub off on other people, especially in your day-to-day life. So I'm about to have a baby. My energy is definitely, and my emotions are definitely, going to influence my baby, because she can feel everything that I feel. And so when I feel like I'm getting frustrated, when I feel like I'm getting angry, when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I try to take a step back and breathe, just in and out, because I'm like, if I stay in this status of energy and mood and all of that, she's going to be rubbed off with that. And I do not need my baby coming out here, being an angry Black woman and having that that stigmatism placed on her. And I just don't want her to be an angry person and she just doesn't know why. I feel like a lot of the things that our kids carry are from us as mothers, while we were pregnant, putting up with certain things and not handling it right then and there. And then if we don't handle it right then and there, our baby coming out, us not thinking that some of their emotions and some of their attitudes and some of their actions are coming from what they experienced in the womb, then we don't know how to help them through that. We don't know how to communicate with them through that when they're experiencing it out in the real world. And we don't know how to recognize it because we didn't recognize it when they were in our stomachs. And so my goal is to not only be mindful and aware of my emotions and how I sound and how I, feel internally, even if it's not somebody else's fault. But I want to be aware and understand how to mitigate that or understand how to problem solve that, because not all the time our emotions can be like, it's not a switch. We can't turn them on. We can't turn them off 100% of the time. At some point, if we're suppressing it, you may think that you're turning it off, but you're suppressing it because you're not dealing with it. So when it happens while she's in here, I want to learn how to, problem solve that and get myself to a better, place. But when she's outside in the real world, I want to show her and give her the tools to be able to handle and problem solve everything by herself as well. Once she gets to a certain age, and show her the way towards emotional intelligence, because as women, we can be very emotionally unintelligent. And so that's when, men and other people can take advantage of us and we're gullible and everything like that. And I feel like I wasn't given the tools growing up to be emotionally intelligent and understand my emotions and why I felt certain things and thinking certain things out, just letting them happen and happen to me over and over again until I decided I was fed up with it and didn't really know what was going on anymore. And sometimes that's what you have to go through. Okay. Sometimes you have to go through something over and over and over again until you're through. Nobody else can tell you what you're done with until you decide that you're done with it. Okay. But sometimes, some things are just like, well, I don't know how I feel about this, or I don't know how I should feel about it. And so just giving her the tools to think through it and make a decision for herself that's going to benefit her and not put her in a worse off situation. That's what I want to do for her. So like I said, if you're a pregnant mama or anything like that, your energy is definitely contagious to the fetus, but also on the outside world, whether you're pregnant or not, your energy is contagious to the people around you. And so I just want to help you guys, think through some of the things that I do for myself, to help me, kind of get in a better mood. And one of those things that I feel like most people may think is unhealthy is isolation. I truly feel like isolation, depending on the type of mood that you're in. Now, if you're depressed, isolation may not be the best. Okay. You need to talk to somebody. You need to let people know that you need them to check in on you, because isolation sometimes can do worse things for your mind than what you think it may do. But if you're mentally fortified and, you feel like you can, control your emotions and your actions, because your actions are going to be, based on your energy and your emotions, then definitely do so. But like I said, if it is a depressing factor, if it's something facing depression or anything like that, I definitely want you to seek help and not isolate yourself. But what I'm talking about for me is just like, a bad 5 minutes or a bad morning or anything like that. Sometimes I just need that isolation. Sometimes I just need that quiet time. And I feel like, especially coming up on motherhood, just thinking about how much more time I'll be giving to somebody else than just myself, I want to make sure that I am setting forth healthy ways to kind of revamp my mind and think about the positives and not just the negatives, because most of the time when we get in this stump, we're just thinking about the negatives. Oh yeah, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I can't do this because this happened, and then oh my goodness, you just wouldn't believe that this then happened, and if it's not one thing, it's another, and blah 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 blah. Okay. When it rains, it honestly pours. Okay, sometimes we can have one-off situations. Sometimes it's just things that's hitting us back to back to back to back to back. But who are you to your core to problem solve some of these things? Are you somebody that runs away? Are you somebody that just needs a little bit of time to think to yourself and then address the situation? Some of these things will not be able to be addressed later on and has to be tackled head on right when they happen. But if it comes down to your mental fortitude and your energy and protecting your peace, you need to do what is best for you. Okay. I live with my husband. My husband stays home. Hopefully by now, he's working. And then, I'll be able to switch my career and now work from home. We'll see how that all works. But since we're both home 24/7, I am around him 24/7. And yes, I feel like that's good because one, we can be in the same room without either having to talk 24/7 or put on a show for somebody else. And that's one of the biggest things for me when it came to finding somebody. I didn't think I'd find anybody because I was like, I just cannot deal with people and who they are 100% of the time, always in my space. Like, if I can do nothing and say nothing with you in my area, like, we're cool because I don't feel like I have to put on a show for you. So obviously that's me and my husband. We don't have to talk 24/7. If he goes upstairs and plays his game, I'm downstairs watching anime, reading a book, or or editing. We're fine. But when I feel like I am down, sometimes I isolate to the point where he's kind of, like I said, tiptoeing around me. And so I don't like that when that happens because I feel like he thinks I'm mad at him about something and I just won't speak up about it. And so what I've had to start doing is communicating. Whether I know what is going on or not, communicating what I'm feeling or what I'm not feeling. And, sometimes he does a better job than me with asking me, okay, are you like, if this is the middle, are you like somewhere up here? Are you down? Are you all the way down? Like, where are you on a scale between, high energy, low energy, not feeling anything, or just middle ground? And sometimes I am middle ground, with pregnancy. I just feel like a lot has gone on. Sometimes I get overwhelmed just by how many people call me. And then if I don't answer, then people have an attitude and have something to say. But it's just like, you cannot dictate when I'm going to answer the phone or if I answer it at all, or if I even call you back. Like my granddad said something. He was like, you don't call nobody back. I said, nope. That's all I said. Like, I love you to death, but if I don't feel like talking, I'm not going to answer the phone because you're going to hear my attitude through the phone. And then I don't want you to think that I don't, want to talk to you, but I'm just not in the mood. Okay. So energy. But one thing I do with my husband is, if I try to isolate, or I try to clean, because for whatever reason, cleaning, I heard that cleaning for women, or, some men as well. I feel like cleaning for women, I've heard cleaning for women, just kind of helps them reorganize what's going on in their mind. If it's cluttered, if your environment is cluttered, if your environment isn't picked up, if your environment is dirty, sometimes you can't think clearly. And I truly believe that. I don't know if there's a study out there or what for it, but I feel like your environment can kind of mimic what you feel like what state your mind is in. So if your living room, your bedroom, wherever in the house or the apartment is just completely effed up and all over the place, maybe that's how your brain is feeling. Maybe that's how you're feeling inside. You're just scattered and you don't have a sense of self because nothing is anywhere where it's supposed to be. And so I feel like when you clean, when you put stuff up, like I said, for some people, not all, it can kind of help you get your life back on track as well. And so my husband asked me, he was like, well, like, is cleaning, is that therapeutic for you? Because I'm always cleaning. I always keep everything in a certain particular place, in a certain particular area. And I just feel like when I keep my environment clean, like when I see it, when I come down to it, I can think about something else other than, okay, this needs to be put up. Okay, and then this needs to be done. Because I honestly work on a clock and on things that need to get done, like to-do lists. And so if that's one less thing that I have to think about, if that's one less thing that I have to do, that is something that calms me down. That is something that, okay, now since that is not something that I have to think about or put energy towards or do myself, okay, I can shift my energy and my focus elsewhere. But when everything is done, when I still don't feel myself, I talk to my husband and I'm just like, sometimes I say like, I don't know what's wrong, or, it's just something mental that's going on and I just got to figure a way out. Sometimes he tries to like help me through it. And then other times it's just like, there is nothing that you can do, because he always wants to figure out what he can do to help me feel better. And I love that about him. But not everything, that's wrong or that is going on can be fixed by somebody else. It has to be fixed by you. One episode, or not even an episode, but an interview that I saw by Jada Pinkett Smith, she said that something happened in their relationship. That marriage is already weird and wonky as it is, but something happened in their relationship, and he had everything going for his career and everything like that. And I could tell Will really does love Jada by everything that he does for her. But it just doesn't seem like she completely loves him back. Whatever. You can look up the conspiracies that, she's still in love with Pac and she's only with Will because Pac is no longer here. And if Pac was here, she'd be with him. Whatever. But that's not what I brought this up to say. But she said that there was, a time in their marriage where she was just unhappy and Will was doing everything in his power to make her happy, to, do stuff for her, to get her out of this slump, to, put her in a better place. And she was still unhappy while he was actively always trying to make her happy. And although the comments were kind of controversial, but everything was thinking like, oh, she's like, everybody was commenting, she's for the streets, she doesn't love him, this and the third. She said in that interview, somebody else cannot make you happy. You have to create that happiness for yourself. Now, she was not saying, I did not take that as her saying, okay, because this person doesn't make you happy, go leave and find your happiness elsewhere. But in a marriage, in a relationship, regardless of how you're feeling, the other person constantly coming to your rescue is not going to be a thing. They cannot keep you happy. They cannot maintain their own emotions while maintaining yours as well. You have to be the source of your own happiness, whether that's figuring out how to put yourself in a better place mentally, emotionally, when you feel like something is off, whether that's picking up a hobby because you feel like you lost yourself and you don't do anything for yourself anymore, whether that's finding out what self-care methods you need to start implementing to, make your life a little bit easier, and paying somebody else to make your life easier. What are the things that you can do yourself that doesn't include somebody doing it for you? Because if somebody is always in control of your happiness, if they're not doing something, you're going to be left unhappy. You're going to be left unfulfilled. And I feel like when you give somebody else that power, if they stop doing something because they don't want to do it anymore, now you're unhappy. Now you don't want to be in the relationship. Now you feel like, this, that, and the third. But it is not that person's priority. It is not that person's job to make you happy and maintain that happiness. You have to have some sort of sense of self to be able to make your own happiness. If this person makes you happy, that's great because you love them. But just because everything that they're doing isn't making you happy, isn't fulfilling you, doesn't mean that y'all cannot be together. That just means that you have placed too much responsibility of your own happiness inside this other person that you don't even know what to do to make yourself happy. And so this person has that power over you. I don't like that. You guys know that I talk about independency while in relationships. I don't talk about it all the time, but I have talked about it before on this podcast. And so I feel like if you give away too much of control, if you give too much control over yourself to somebody else, they have control over you and you have no type of independency. You are dependent on this other person. If this person decided to leave you, you have nothing to stand on by yourself. If you decided that you wanted to leave this person, they hold too much power over you for you to truly leave. And so that is why when I say energy is contagious, yes, energy can be contagious to a certain degree, but it should not be that this person is happy and they have to make me happy. And if they're not making me happy, then there's something wrong with the relationship. There may not be anything wrong with the relationship. It may just be you. Please take that into account, because I feel like when people get in a rut, especially with their partner, like there's multiple things wrong day by day, or, you're just butting heads day by day. They're like, oh, this relationship just isn't for me, and they break up. Okay, no, you're just going through a rough patch. But if you can find your core, find somewhere in the middle where you can meet yourself and take care of you and your emotions and stimulate that, and allow the other person to do the same, and then you both get together and understand that it's you both against whatever the situation it is, and it's not you two against each other. I feel like that is what builds a stronger relationship. But you have to be in control of your own happiness. You cannot wait on somebody to come save you. So with me, whenever I feel like I'm down, whenever I feel like, I'm not giving the best of myself, whenever I feel like I'm snapping at my partner, I sit back and I tell him, I say, first off, I'm sorry, because I feel like I'm snapping at you. Like one time I came home and I just felt like I was just snapping at him. Came home, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. I'm sorry, because one, I feel like I'm snapping at you. Two, you didn't do anything. And three, I just feel like I'm irritated, or there's something going on internally, whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally, that I need to figure out before I'm even able to communicate that out to somebody else. And so I think, like I always tell you guys before, sometimes I just sit there in the quiet and I think to myself. I don't write in my journal or type in my phone as much as I used to anymore, because I feel like since I started that practice, I'm now able to do it without writing stuff down. And I just go on, okay, checklist. Okay, what happened? When did you start to feel like this? What situation happened to where you noticed that this was a shift in your emotions? And just plan it, just plan it, going through it play by play of the day. What happened and why do I feel this way? What irritated me when I walked through the door? Did I see that there were dishes in the sink and he was here all day? Did I see that the laundry wasn't started and he was here all day? He said that he was. What happened to make me feel like I was just like, now I have this snappy attitude with him? So sometimes it may not even be him. Maybe it's something that happened at work. Maybe it's something that, I saw or read or heard on the way home. It doesn't always have to be that person is the source of my anger, or that person is the source of my irritation or happiness. It could be something else, and now you're cascading that onto whatever happened next. And so that's where I've talked about compartmentalizing in another episode, where if I have a bad day at work, I don't want to come home and give off that energy at home. Okay, I want to be able to compartmentalize my emotions. I had a bad day at work. My bad emotions, my negative emotions are from work. I'm going to leave them there. I'm not going to bring work problems past the door of my home and cascade that off to my child. Because now my child is like, oh, mommy just got home and she's mad. Maybe every time mommy comes home, she's going to be mad. Let me not talk to her. Maybe let me not greet her. And I can honestly say that was one of the things for me and my siblings. When my parents used to come home, they used to come home, especially my mom used to come home, and I think it was just because she was stressed. Okay, I feel like when we get older, we start to understand our parents a little bit more. Not saying that give them grace and forgive them for everything that they did, but understanding is different from not understanding and just experiencing them through a certain lens. But I will say that was us when I was growing up. Anytime my parents got home, they'd be kind of irritated, upset, in a bad mood, and so it's like, okay, just go up there, say hey, and go right back to my room, because you don't know what type of mood they're in. And then when they were in a happy mood, it's like, oh, this is weird. Okay. But I don't want my child to see me as that. See me as coming home day by day upset, and then the one day I don't have any issues at work and I come home and I'm in a good mood, she's like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? I don't want that for her. So energy is contagious. Energy is, I don't know. Energy can be controlled. and you can compartmentalize that energy. And as long as you are mentally aware of what is going on, you can help mitigate how contagious that energy is. Because I feel like if I wasn't to communicate that there was something wrong with something wrong with me to my partner, or be able to communicate with him like, yeah, I'm not feeling the highest of highs, but I'm not in the middle and I'm not at the lowest of lows. I just don't feel right now. If I'm not able to communicate that with him, he's going to continue to tiptoe around me and think that he did something that I just don't want to speak up to at the moment. So then, he was able, is there anything I can get you? Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything, trying to help me in that moment. But if your partner doesn't understand that it's not them, it's just something that you're going through right now that you can't, kind of like they can't help out with, they're going to seclude themselves away from you until you come to them to tell them, okay, I'm ready to talk, or I'm ready to do this, or hey, why are you ignoring me, or hey, why are you like staying away from me, or something like that. So, I'm glad that I have a partner that can read my energy as well. Even when I feel like I'm not readable, and, want to make me feel better. But at the end of the day, like I said, your partner is not the source, should not be the source of your happiness. You should be the source of your happiness. And together you guys should, ignite the flame of happiness and rejoice and love and this, that, and the third. But I had a conversation with him the other night, and I told him, sometimes it's not going to be 50-50 with emotions and, feelings and everything like that. Sometimes it's going to be 90-10. Sometimes it's going to be 60-40, whether that's you carrying the bigger load or me carrying the bigger load. Just know I'm going to be here when you need me. And if you feel like you are carrying less than you cannot carry any more than a certain number, I'm here to either pick up the slack and help you back up during that, or I'm here to give you the time, space, and, energy that you need to be able to get yourself back up. So think about that, you guys, especially when it comes to kids. And I feel like now that I have a baby on the way, like I'm very cautious of certain things that happen, certain things that I do, certain things that, I try to watch out for, because it's like, okay, if she was here right now in this moment and I was doing this, I was doing X, Y, and Z, she's going to absorb that, because kids absorb by watching and listening before they absorb by you trying to teach and tell them something. Because you can tell them stop cursing all day, but if you're cursing up a storm 24/7, as soon as they're not around you, that's the vocabulary that they're using elsewhere. Okay, so same thing with energy. If you are, I think the number one thing to me that pops up about energy and me, with my kid, is if I'm driving and she's in the car riding with me, and I'm doing nothing but displaying road rage, she's going to have that when she gets older. And I don't want that for her. Crazy things happen when you road rage. You can get shot and killed. You can, just be so worked up you have your own heart attack in the car and you cause an accident. So many things can happen. But if you're reactive, on the road, and road rage builds up and this, down, and third, and you want to, pull up next to the car, roll your window down and start cussing them out, and then they shoot you, that could have been prevented. Okay? Road rage in the car if you have to, and drive off. Stop trying to confront people in traffic. There has been so many lives lost that way. But I don't want her to experience that. I don't want her to experience the anger of me having towards other drivers. I want her to be able to, okay, mommy is driving, she's being responsible, she's being respectful, she doesn't have any confrontation with anybody else on the road. I'm going to carry those same, ethic and morals and all of the things when I start driving. But if I start road raging, she's going to develop that type of characteristic at a young age. So I don't want that for her. I don't. And, maybe she doesn't, maybe she grows up and she doesn't have road rage, even if I'm road raging or anything like that. But I genuinely feel like energy and anything that I do in front of her is contagious, and she's going to absorb, and that is going to be her lesson, and that is what's going to teach her and guide her. I want to be very cautious of what I do and very mindful of what I do, because I have a little daughter watching me at all times. And as a mom, I want to set the best foot forward and the best example for her so that she can succeed in life. So if I'm showing her bad examples and a bad role model, she's going to exude those same things that she's seen. Okay, so I want to prevent that. And so being more conscientious of my energy, my mood, how I'm talking to people, and compartmentalizing my emotions. This person made me mad. Let me not lash out at my husband because somebody at work made me mad. Let me not lash out at my daughter for, the smallest of things that I wouldn't have lashed out at her before, right? Even the dogs, I told my husband before, like, sometimes I do feel bad because work will be kind of crazy, and then they get, they go and do some stupid stuff outside. They're dogs. And I lash out at them. I'm like, dude, what the heck are you doing? But it's just like they already know what they're supposed to be doing, and then they do the complete opposite when you feel like you have a lot on your plate with something else. So love them to death, but they do be driving me crazy. But they're just like kids. They can't communicate right now. Well, dogs can never communicate, but my baby girl, she's going to cry nonstop for maybe a year or so. And not nonstop, but you guys know what I mean. Whenever she needs something, she's going to cry until she can express her emotions. And when she gets to a certain age that she can understand not even understand her emotions, but when she can talk, I want to be able to sit her down while she's crying and be like, what are you feeling right now? Why are you upset? Why are you crying? Is it because of this? I want to talk her through her emotions so that she, one, understands what she's going through, even if she doesn't fully understand it at first. But with practice, she's going to understand, okay, I feel like this because of this, because you told me this, because you said no to this. All right. And some of it may be childish. Okay. I said no because I said no. I said no because you do not need this right now. I said no because this is not healthy for you. This is not good for you because mommy, things like that. But if she is able to communicate with me about that, that is the biggest lesson I want her to learn, is communicating her emotions. Because then you don't leave it to somebody else to tell you how you're feeling and why you feel this way. And a lot of people that, are narcissistic or anything like that and try to control you with your emotions, if you don't understand your own emotions and can't control them, somebody else will. And so I don't want that for her. I want her to be able to communicate with not only me and her daddy, but with anybody why she is feeling a certain way she is feeling. And that is going to help her in her adulthood, especially in her teenage years while she's, developing friends and trying to date and all of the things. So yes, I say all of this to say energy is contagious. Okay. Whether you want it to be or not, whether you think it is or not, whether you're pregnant and you don't think your baby is feeling it or not, if you don't fix it, then it is going to become a problem later. Okay. But I love you guys. Drop what you want to talk about on the podcast in the comment section or in my DM on Instagram. My Instagram is theprettyconfident.pod, and I will see you guys in next week's episode. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to the Pretty Confident Podcast. Remember, confidence isn't about perfection. It's about embracing who you truly are. So until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay pretty confident. Peace out.